made that mistake at one point. All right, now, one final bit we have on the show, my friend, is WWE Payback.
Yeah. WWE Payback took place in San Jose, California. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with y'all. There are two big things in my highlight, but to give it quick down and dirty. For the most part, you run a middle pay-per-view. For the most part, you kind of knew what was going to happen. Jericho got the belt from KO, mostly because SmackDown Live needs him. So it was a no-brainer when it came to that one. Rollins versus Joe will have to be my favorite match. I think Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe, which is a great way it ended. The roll-up, which is a nice way. It made both competitors look strong. Of course, Bayley dropped the belt to Alexa Bliss. It's typical Vince McMahon fashion at this point to have somebody drop their belt in their hometown, which is kind of dirty. It's like, come on, bro. I know typically in the past you will have the person from their hometown winning their hometown in front of their friends and family, and it's a great moment. But he's purposely now having people drop their belts in their hometown.
Didn't Bret Hart refuse to lose All in Canada?
Yes, he did. That's how the whole Montreal screw job happened in the whole 9 yards.
Family just messing up though, man.
It's just kind of shady, man. It's one of those sort of things where it's like, come on, man. You're purposely letting having these people drop their championship belts at home. And it's like, come on, man. There's no need for that. But that's what he's doing.
We all know the upright businessman Vince would never let something like that happen without now.
Supposedly. The Hardys went up against Cesaro and Sheamus. Hardys won. My hope is that what happened after the match, Cesaro and Sheamus jumped them. My hope is that they finally bring the broken Hardys. That's what I'm hoping that it happens.
Did one of them lose a tooth too? I saw. I think Sheamus kicked Jeff Hardy in the face and actually knocked his tooth out of his head.
Oh yeah, I did hear something about that. We'll see.
Matt, he ain't pretty no more.
Hey, my hope is that finally Broken Matt and Brother Nero show up because this is why they got re-signed.
Well, you want to tell them what happened after?
They got jumped afterwards, and that's really what it is.
I'll bit my tongue.
That's all. Oh, I mean, they ultimately jumped them because they felt they had sour grapes that they lost the match. I mean, there's really nothing more, nothing less. I think it's a cheap
went out
ploy.
dirty though, man. There was a whole shaking hands and all this BS.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they shook hands and all that sort of stuff. I really think all it is just to set up the justification of bringing in Broken Matt and Brother Nero because WWE was in a battle with TNA, who the Broken Hardys were signed with, because Broken Matt was saying, this is my gimmick, my intellectual property. I made this. It's mine. I'm bringing it to wherever I want to go. TNA's beef is we spent all this money on you developing your gimmick to the point where we did a pay-per-view at your house on your property, named it after your gimmick. We poured a lot of money, production power into this.
And your children.
You're just going to take off and run with it? No.
Potato salad.
You give me some money. You giving us some money. Vince apparently paid him off. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with the WWE lawyers being a property that's being sold with an IPO. So
that could have been millions. It was still pocket change to Vince.
Absolutely. I mean, because my stock isn't dropping, so let's keep it pushing. Where am I at? Okay. Strowman versus Roman Reigns. Blah, just big dudes fighting. It's what it is. The only part that got a little weird and a little uncomfortable, and perhaps this is me being a little sensitive, is when Roman Reigns got a bloody mouth and he was supposed to be coughing up blood, and that the crowd was cheering that this guy was coughing up blood. My thing is this, whether or not it's kayfabe or fake or whether or not it's real, it looked a little real. It's one of those sort of things that you don't cheer that the guy is hurt. I know you can't stand his character. I know you don't like him, but to thank the guy for hurting him, for cheering that this guy is spitting up blood, that's just low.
Bro, you talking about the same crew of people that would cheer cats getting body slammed onto thumbtacks.
I mean, we all know this. We all know that's part of the show. This is the aftermatch, man. It is like you're cheering thank you to the guy for beating up the guy to spit up blood. You're cheering thank you to Strowman for Roman Reigns spitting up blood because you don't like Roman Reigns' character. Right. A part of me is just kind of like, we got to draw the line somewhere, man. I don't like the guy's character either, but I don't want the guy to seriously get hurt or be hoping that the guy really got hurt. My buddies are telling me I'm being a little sensitive on it. I'm like, I don't know. It just seemed a little weird.
I think it's general compassion.
I think that's generally not being barbaric. Is to, you know what I mean? Not wanting people to get mortally wounded or actually injured on something like that. And this isn't the Coliseum.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm assuming that it was all part of the gimmick, but it just seemed a little weird that everyone's cheering that this guy's coughing up blood. You know what I mean? It just felt a little weird for me. But overall, it was an all right fight. It's just what it was. What I want to highlight is two things. Well, one thing mainly now. The House of Horrors match with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Honestly, the match was blah. I think Final Deletion, which was TNA's thing with the Broken Hardys, was a much better done product. Ultimately, what it was that the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking, did Vince McMahon just rent out this house to have this fight in, or did he build this setup from scratch? Because WWE is a production company, just like WWE Studios, just like what you mentioned with Slight.
Yep.
WWE will co-produce that. So I mean, they're their own studio. So I'm sitting here watching this. I should be watching a fight. I should be watching a match, but I'm thinking, wow, if somebody really did lease their house, that's gonna be a lot of cleanup afterwards. So I mean, it goes to show how entertaining the match was, because it really wasn't.
House used to belong to Test.
Say again?
Used to belong to Test.
It used to be Tessa's house. So, I mean, it's to the point where at the after show, Jerry Lawler was like, yeah, man, I didn't really like the match either. I was wondering, wow, if that's somebody's house, that kind of sucks. They just mess with that guy's house. So I mean, it's kind of weird when you have your commentators commenting the same thing I'm actually thinking. But at the end of the match, because the way it was set up, said Wyatt and Orton fought in this house. They take a limo back to the arena and they finish the fight, which the whole thing just seemed cheesy to begin with. It's just ridiculous. Ultimately, the thing that I liked about it, and which really worked at the end, was when Jinder Mahal, who was the number one contender for the WWE title, did a run-in and interfered the match. The reason why I like it is because this guy has worked incredibly hard, and he became number one contender. And the internet went nuts. Why is this guy number one contender? He doesn't deserve it. Only reason they're doing it is because WWE's moving into the Indian market, and he doesn't deserve it. And ultimately, it's just, I believe they're hating on the guy because he's Muslim and he's Indian. Because ultimately, that's why I think the reason why some of the fans are hating on him. Because this is what WWE does all the time. When they move it, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there is a precedent for that, though, man.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
We haven't talked about it. Like,
yes, we did.
They'll push Japanese wrestlers, Asian wrestlers in general. When
specifically Japanese, when they moved into the Japanese market. I
think it was with Sheamus push into the
Balor and UK Lynch when they moved to the UK market. Absolutely,
yeah, so Doink when they moved in the Juggalo market, man. So
maybe they're probably trying to get those Juggalos, man. You know. So ultimately, there's nothing new about this, but at the same time, Mahal is a great wrestler. So for him to do a run-in on this match with these two superstars, with two former champions, for him to do a run-in, signaled that this guy is at that level now. So I thought it was great for him to be able to interfere in the match. And of course, Orton lost, but it was really good in that particular way. So I mean, overall, by the way, I mentioned it that Becky Lynch, that Alexa Bliss got the belt from Bayley, and Bayley lost in her hometown.
I can hear the excitement in your voice, brother.
I mean, because it was one of those sort of things where you knew the results were going to happen. It was those one-in-the-mill sort of things. It's what I mentioned before, how WWE is going a direction in which they're a little more predictable, at least with their Raw brand. They're a little more predictable. They're giving the WWE fans what they want, but not necessarily the wrestling fan what they want. And I mentioned this before. There's a difference between a WWE fan and a wrestling fan. And it's ultimately, they just gave the WWE fans what they wanted with this. The guys they wanted to win, won. The guys they wanted to lose, lost. It was just simple as that. And that's all I got. I mean, if you want to watch it, watch it. Have it play in the background. I'm looking forward to the SmackDown pay-per-view that's happening the 21st of April. 21st of May is what I'm looking forward to. That pay-per-view, that's gonna be a good one because SmackDown just does better work. And that's all I got.
You gonna have your own report on
that? Yes, you are.
All right, cool. All right, before we go, as a